Hey everybody, thanks for joining. Gabe Galvez here, chairman and co-founder of CapTarget, wanting to share some company updates as we enter 2019. Before we jump in, a few housekeeping items. This webinar is intended for previous clients at CapTarget who maybe haven't worked with us in a while. Most of you know our model lends itself to folks coming and going on an as-needed basis, but occasionally I like to reach out to everybody and share updates on our service and our company as we continue to grow and evolve. Okay, well, for many of you, it's been a while. Over the last 8 years, we've grown from just a few rogue analysts building prospect lists to an organization that served more than 800 private equity and M&A clients in the middle market. I'd like to think with some scale comes clarity. And as such, our model's been significantly simplified over the last few years to make it easier for clients like you to work with us. In addition to some changes to the model, we did recently launch a new website, which I'd encourage you all to take a look at, and have added to our marketing and biz dev team, really to just round out our capacity as we continue to grow. So over all these years, we've accrued quite a bit of experience. A few data points here just to drive the point home. 30,000 transactions have been supported by CapTarget over the last nearly 9 years, which is, considering we work solely in the middle market, a pretty tremendous feat. We've accomplished that by working with more than 800 total customers, both on the buy and sell side, again, serving the market for nearly 9 years. And in the last few years alone, we've almost doubled the amount of firms we've worked with historically. Just as a benchmark, this year alone, we've grown revenues by nearly 80%, which is not bad for a company that's nearly 10 years old. Some of you may remember a previous iteration of our model where we offered really just a lot of services. I remember an old website we had that must have had 12 service sections, and it was really a bear. Since then, we've streamlined our service offering pretty significantly. So our business is now split into two operating groups, origination and research. The origination team sources deals on what we call a fee-for-service basis, meaning there's no need for buyers to pay finder's fees, and it allows M&A firms to white label our service when providing buy-side services to funds themselves. And our research team helps either on a project basis for firms that just have a capacity issue or just need some ad hoc support, and more commonly on a full service ongoing basis where we in effect become your research and back office team. So although we lump everything we do now into these two operating groups, there's a lot of different ways we can support firms depending on the application and the need. So for example, we talk a lot about origination here, and we primarily conduct origination campaigns for private equity groups and to a lesser extent corporate buyers. But ultimately, origination is really just good marketing in the context of the deal maker space. So it's not uncommon for firms to come to us who represent sell-side transactions and have us originate new clients for them. So rather than finding buy-side opportunities, we would actually be identifying sell-side opportunities. The process, the pricing is all very similar. At the end of the day, whether you're on the buy or sell side, we're really talking about having analysts build a universe of buyers or sellers, and then developing a sophisticated approach to messaging, qualifying, and managing leads within that universe. So just one of the ways that you can utilize the service that's maybe not so apparent online or that's evolved over where we were previously. We do still do quite a bit of what I call analyst ditch digging. We have a menu on our website, and we'll get into some of these services here in this presentation, but you'll find that what you need as a sell-side advisor might not always totally reconcile with these clean categories. It doesn't need to be a SIM or a prospect list or a comp set for us to get involved. So you can, and I encourage you to throw left field work at us, whether it's model stress testing or preparing for a pitch or developing marketing materials. These are all things that our team can handle either on a project or on an ongoing basis. And lastly, while we can handle a number of these kind of off-menu items, we have made a deliberate move away from more junior style work, junior analyst type work. If it's been a number of years since you've worked with us, you might remember us doing, some of this more administrative, dare I say, low value type work that's often needed. But now, due to some changes we've made with our team and their level of experience, accreditation, etc., we are making a deliberate effort to provide more high-value work. Long-form, technical-type support is really where we're shining these days. As I mentioned, gone are the days of this junior-level support that we used to provide as we continue to move up market, both in our positioning and our service offering. And that's allowed us to employ analysts who not only have the previous mentioned qualifications, but have an experience level starting around 5 years prior to joining us as an average. And that's really significant for a few reasons. Particularly on the sell side, if we look at what an analyst has by way of experience in a smaller or boutique M&A firm, you'll see a few things. You'll either see up-and-comers with great backgrounds but not a lot of experience. These are the analysts that our clients, you guys, will have to train only to see them turn over in an average of 2 years as they continue to accelerate their career. Or you'll see folks that have plenty of experience but maybe not direct to M&A. They have experience in commercial banking or other tertiary elements of the deal-making space that could apply, but are probably not exactly what you need. So having folks that have worked as analysts, that have worked at PE shops, M&A firms, that also have the necessary accreditation and are all part of a full-time internalized W-2-based team is really a big differentiator that is not new for us. So when you compare us to overseas outfits, to job shops, to 1099 marketplace aggregators, you'll see that we're still really the only shop that has the internal team with this certain level of qualification and accreditation that we feel is needed to really acclimate to the middle market. So let's just do a quick refresher now on our deal origination service. I jokingly like to say to folks, and some of you may have heard this before, you can think of us either as the least expensive buy-side firm or most expensive appointment setters you'll ever hire, depending on which lens you're looking at us through. So unlike a buy-side firm, we do not charge any success fees. We don't advocate for a transaction. We don't participate in any upside. We really are the group that brings the horse to water, and that allows our clients a few unique opportunities. Private equity firms that are working directly with us can eliminate the buy-side fee load, which in a competitive marketplace can be prohibitive depending on the fee structure you're working with. But it also allows buy-side M&A firms to white label our service and really present a real comprehensive service offering that is almost completely turnkey, allowing you to take on way more buy-side work without ever having to hire anybody or to dilute your fees by bringing more people into the fold, thus cutting up the pie. So what we've developed here, I'm the first to admit, is not something that's bleeding edge or particularly revolutionary. Really, it represents a professionalized, scaled version of what most private equity firms aim to cobble together themselves with retail technology, with business development, support from internal team members. And what we can do is deliver a managed service that incorporates all those elements into one pretty low price point, with typical clients starting around $3,000 per month on a 12-month commitment basis, and allow them to really kind of set the criteria, provide the needed approvals, and then sit back and wait for the lead flow to come in. So while this sounds fairly simple, prospecting, developing good content, outbound messaging, following up, appointment setting for buyers, the reality is this service offering is quite a bit more comprehensive than a lot of the other solutions out there. For example, when you use a deal marketplace, and there are some good ones out there, you are seeing the same deals as all the other buyers, which is a common complaint for some of the big players in the space. Working with us, since we generate both proprietary and non-proprietary deal flow, we allow buyers to curate their own pipeline that they wholly own, that's never shopped to anybody else, and lives or dies by their level of interest. Doing this allows us to scale the effort without creating much by way of conflict, and it allows our clients to know that when they see a lead, it's a lead that responded to their specific value proposition, to their specific strategy, rather than just a cattle call to possibly sell their company. We find this works really well on both sides of the private equity spectrum. Small firms that maybe don't want to commit to scaling their biz dev staff or have a modestly sized biz dev staff, or larger firms that really look to mechanize origination. those multi-billion-dollar firms that really are playing a bit more of a numbers game and want to make sure they are covering all their bases. Either way, what we find with our origination, largely due to our pricing model, is that when a buyer closes a deal, they can save hundreds of thousands of dollars, quite literally, over paying larger retainers and sharing in success fee or transaction fees. So the economics are really attractive, pretty simple process, and our average client now closes about 2 deals a year that we source. Again, for a starting at annualized price of around $36,000. Let's turn the page and talk about research, since that's changed a little bit as well. As many of you know, we're fully equipped with the tools and the talent to do all these different research projects that you see on the screen here. All services are now available either on a project or 6-month subscription basis. That 6-month subscription basis is now the norm. We have moved away from the month-to-month service offering, and that wasn't done in the spirit of being punitive. Really, it was done to allow us to embed with clients in a way that was a little more meaningful. Coming and going every 30 days, seeing team churn, our clients need change, made it challenging for us to deliver something that was what I felt a superior product. So now we look for clients on the ongoing support basis that have a bit more of a consistent need. They tend to be a little bit larger in size, but that we can really intimately embed with and hopefully service for many, many years as an alternative to hiring those analysts, watching them come and go every year in and out. I know I touched on this before, but we'll just run through the list a little bit here. Most commonly, we're helping with prospect list development, whether it's on the buy or sell side. We do a lot of pitch book development. Just a note on language choice, we call them pitch books. You might call them SIMs or CBRs or pitch decks. Consider pitch book for us a catch-all term. So anything that's sort of to-market deal prep marketing related. We do still have a lot of industry reporting access, both on a primary and secondary basis. We do a lot of comp and valuation work, and more commonly, valuation work in the context of financial modeling, whether that's just pro forma ops modeling or more commonly, those LBOs, those DCFs, all of the buy-side value supporting type models that are pretty common here. When we talk about research, I know we touched on the pain point of hiring and firing analysts and a little bit on the tooling side, but I always like to look at these comparative slides because I think it gives us a nice little picture as to why we feel we're a really competitive choice. So, we've broken down these elements of us and our competitors into a few categories: pricing flexibility, a full service solution, project-based options for those who don't have an ongoing need, many data sources versus just picking one, and of course being middle market specialized. So if you look at, say, a single database option, and there's some great options out there, we work with a number of them. Most of them are fairly strict on pricing. Certainly they're not offering a full service solution. They're offering you a tool that you need to extract value from versus CapTarget, which delivers the value. Certainly you can't access these on an ad hoc basis, so there are no project-based options. You are committing to a single data source, so if it's not in there, you don't have access. And most of these single database solutions, particularly the big ones that we've all worked with in past lives, are not specialized to the middle market. If we go down the line and say, okay, well, maybe I want to hire somebody internally. Well, again, you lose price flexibility, you lose the project-based flexibility. You still have to provide them and carry the cost of their data sources, their training. And although they may be full service and hopefully specialized in the middle market, those other elements that don't reconcile are very key. And then lastly, we always like to look at this in the context of overseas competitors, which seems like there's a new one coming and going every day. Most overseas competitors, particularly on the research side, do compete on pricing and can do so pretty competitively. So we can't knock them for that. But we've yet to find one that offers a full service solution, project-based support options, more than one data access point, and most of them, if not all of them, are not specialized in the middle market. So if you want to check all the boxes, I think we now more than ever have a really strong argument for this turnkey, as needed, pain-free solution, whether you're looking for help on a sell-side project that's coming up or whether you're looking to scale your biz dev effort for one reason or another. The next few slides are going to be largely informational. We're going to just take a peek at some feedback from clients, some social proof, and then I'll leave you with a contact slide here If you'd like, you can always grab a 15-minute time slot with either myself or our VP of Biz Dev, Alex Carlson, to help get more oriented with these changes, maybe specific to some needs you have. Otherwise, I encourage you to take a look at our new website. The messaging and the approach should be a lot more digestible for those of you who remember previous iterations of our site. And as always, you can shoot questions to our general email inbox, and someone will get back with you shortly. Thank you for joining, taking the time. Hopefully, I was able to give you a little bit of a taste as to what CapTarget looks like going into 2019 here, and hopefully we can connect again soon. Thanks, everybody.